Hey friend, welcome to the Self-Care Isn't Selfish podcast. I'm your host, Emily Nichols. As a Whole30 certified coach, wife, busy working boy mom, and your self-care guru, I'm here to help you start putting yourself first without the guilt. Each week you'll hear motivating and practical tips on how you can create a habit of self-care through interviews with my amazing guests or quick solo episodes with me. After each episode, you'll walk away with an action plan and feel empowered to implement what you have learned into your life. So, grab a cup of coffee, glass of wine, or your favorite sparkling water, and let's do this. You're listening to episode 7 of the Self-Care Isn't Selfish podcast. This week's self-care quickie tip is all about accountability. Now, you may be wondering, what does accountability have to do with self-care? Well, a lot. If you're anything like me, I have a lot of ideas running through my head at all times, and I love to make to-do lists. Oh my gosh, I'm the queen of to-do lists, and nothing gives me greater joy than checking those things off. But nothing gives me more anxiety when I have a really long to-do list and I'm not checking everything off. And a lot of that comes from analysis paralysis. I'm spending too much time researching something or thinking or dreaming about how I'm going to do something and not actually just doing the thing. So this really stems from a conversation I had with my husband a couple weeks ago. I was feeling super overwhelmed. I've had a few life changes the past couple of weeks. I left my previous job of 9 years and started a new job, which was super exciting, and I was super nervous. I left teaching at one of my favorite places ever, Cycle Bar, just to have more time with my new job so I'd have more time with my family because they're my number one priority. So a lot of big changes, all good though, but I was feeling really overwhelmed in order to get a lot of things done that I had on my plate. So I told my husband, here's what I have to get done Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I want you to hold me accountable that I'm going to get each of these things done. So he said, okay, we will. And guess what? I got everything done. So I'm going to share 4 tips with you today to help you hold yourself accountable to get stuff done, just to do the thing so you're not so overwhelmed in your mind and have all of that space taken up with all the things you have to do, because it feels so great just to do it and get those things off your list. So let's dig into this together. So my first tip is to get specific. Okay, so for example, I needed to record this podcast today, and if I just said at the beginning of the week, oh, I need to record a podcast, there's no details around that. So I needed to get specific, say, okay, I needed to record episode 7. It's just a quickie tip. This is the theme. These are the few things I want to do. I need to do it by this date, and I scheduled it on my calendar, and by golly, I am getting it done. So I set the deadline to get it done by today. I scheduled it on my calendar, and I got really specific about what I wanted to talk about today. So I went and sit down to my mic and be like, and have a bunch of crickets for you. So get specific and actually schedule it and set your deadline. Number 2 is to tell someone. Get an accountability partner. So like I said, a couple weeks ago, it worked out pretty well for me to tell my husband. Now, there may be certain situations where you think, okay, my partner can be my accountability partner in whatever you're trying to get done. And then when they check in on you, you want to snap and bite their head off because you're like, I'm getting it done, but I have this to do and these 20 million other things to do, and I still have to make dinner, and I really want to paint my nails. I mean, whatever. But, do it with, set an accountability partner, whether it would be a friend, someone on social media. I mean, even just posting something on social media to say, I'm going to do this, more likely going to do it versus just thinking it in your head. So find an accountability partner, but be sensitive to who it is. So luckily my husband was a good accountability partner for me a couple weeks ago, but that could change week to week. Hey gang, jumping in real quick to remind you that all of my self-care quickie tip episodes are brought to you by my online Whole30 courses. As I've mentioned numerous times, Whole30 helped change me from the inside out, and I now help my clients eat, move, and love themselves to help them find their own version of self-care food freedom, and to put themselves first without feeling the guilt. So head on over to my website. It's just emily-nichols.com and check out all of my Whole30 courses. If you weren't able to get into one of my most recent Whole30 groups, if the deadline has already passed, no worries. I am always taking on Whole30 private clients if you'd like to get coached one-on-one, or also if you're just looking for a little bit of virtual accountability, some little tough love and cheerleading from me, then sign up for my Whole30 Anytime course. These are courses you can do anytime throughout the year when you're ready to give Whole30 a try. Just a reminder, it's emily-nichols.com, or follow along on Instagram at emilynichols22 so you can get all the updates on what's happening with my Whole30 courses. And just because I love my podcast listeners, once you head to the site and purchase your course, I have a special discount code for you. Just enter at checkout SELFLOVE. That's just self-love, SELFLOVE, all one word, all capitals, to receive a discount. So can't wait to see you inside the course and help you change from the inside out through Whole30. Number 3, my tip is to time block. Now, what this means is, say you need to do a bunch of emails this morning for work. And you just sit down to your desk and you just start doing them. And then you start scrolling Instagram and then you get a text from somebody and, 2 hours have gone by and you've barely touched your email. So actually time block. So I use a little time block cube that it's a timer. I'll link it in my show notes, but it's got different times on it from 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way to 30 an hour. And I time block, okay, I'm going to sit here for 30 minutes and dig out of these emails. I'm going to turn my phone notifications off. I'm not going to look at any notifications coming in because it's off. But I'm not going to be distracted. I'm just going to get this done for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, I can take a break, take a drink of water, get a snack, and go back to my next activity. Time blocking is great because you're focused on one specific task and you're getting it done. And you're able to remove all of the other distractions, and you're working hard to get it done in that 30 minutes versus just having a loosey-goosey time frame. So, like I said, I use a time block. You can just use the timer on your phone, but I like the time block because it's fun and it's cute and looks nice on my desk. So, and number 4, my last tip when it comes to holding yourself accountable: forgive yourself. Give yourself grace. If you didn't meet that deadline, if you're feeling too overwhelmed, give yourself a little grace and go back to these tips that I mentioned today and really just keep trying to do these things over time. I talk a lot about habit because habits take a long time to develop sometimes, and they change as your life changes as well. And you need to give yourself grace if you're not getting the things done that you want to. So those 4 tips again for holding yourself accountable was: number 1, be specific, set deadlines and stick to them. Tell someone, get an accountability partner. Time block, actually schedule out time that you're going to get these things done, and starting with the priorities first. And lastly, forgive yourself. Give yourself a little bit of grace. So I hope you enjoyed this self-care quickie tip this week. Don't forget to take a screenshot of you listening to this week's episode and share it on your Instagram and give me a tag so I can see it. It's at emilynichols22 or at Self-Care Isn't Selfish Podcast. And if you feel so inclined, I would love it if you would leave me a rating and or review on iTunes. It helps, make the podcast a little easier to find for other folks searching for this type of content. So thanks again for listening. And guys, hold yourself accountable and don't forget, self-care isn't selfish.